Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is They're Coming. And this title pretty much came into mind earlier this morning. When I woke up, thinking about a scenario of, what if you were in a public restroom or something like that. It could be anywhere, not a public restroom, anywhere public. And some agent or official or officials approach you and say, "Look, come with us. We got to question you about something or whatever the case may be." That could be a reality in this truth because that's the times that we're in, and dealing with legislation, as the scriptures say that shall speak as a dragon. We know that speaking like a dragon goes into this legislation that they're passing out there, to pretty much cut people off that are not compliant or complying with the status quo, so to speak. Now you have a bill which became law known as the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, and that particular law, if you're accused of being a so-called terrorist or have any affiliations with anyone that is a terrorist, or have been in close contact or near someone that is accused or suspected of being a so-called terrorist, they could hold you indefinitely, without trial, so on and so forth, whatever the case may be. And right now they're pushing this whole disease thing, and there's a bill that has been trying to get passed since 2015. I'm not sure if they passed it yet or not. It's called A99. That's in New York State, dealing with expected of having any type of communicable disease. They can pull you away, and hold you, for a certain period of time, and that all these laws that are in the books, pretty much they say one thing, but if a national emergency is declared, pretty much all of that is out the window. So they can hold you pretty much indefinitely if they want. They could invoke certain other laws like the NDAA to hold you indefinitely, and this is a part of where Jacob's trouble is coming from. Now, I was meditating also on this guy Vocab, and how Elder Pastor had said that as of late he hasn't really been getting any views or that many views. People, he's not really speaking about the Hebrew Israelites, as much. And what the Spirit revealed to me as I was meditating on that is that pretty much his job is done. Now, I'm not saying he won't make videos on Israel anymore, but his job is pretty much done as far as that's concerned. And what I mean by that was his job was not so much as to teach the scriptures and try to win souls over to sweet Jesus, baby, but more so to demonize us. That's why he called us black Hebrew Israelites instead of Hebrew Israelites, because that's what's in Project Megiddo. That's why he, did videos or skits on the Hebrew Israelites and Islam. That's why he always tried to link us with Islam, with terrorism, as being a militant or black militant group, so on and so forth, because these are the categories that Esau has, and that's pretty much already been done. And now I was also meditating on the IUIC and how their organization is considered, to be a part of Islam or something along those lines. I can't really remember exactly how it was worded. If any of you brothers remember, you could put it on the comment board. But they were identified as a so-called Islamic group or something along those lines. So pretty much this is where the demonization is coming in. And vocab pretty much has done that, you know, has linked us to, you know, this so-called terrorist, you know, or these terrorist organizations, because that is their job. Their job is not to win souls for sweet Jesus. Their job is to demonize those that they want to demonize, to have them in a position, you know, to where once the persecution starts, Jacob's trouble starts, they don't really need much to come after us, you know. And this is where Jacob's trouble is going to really take root, so to speak. And I was meditating on all these things, you know, because this is where we're heading to. And this is, we're at the crossroads of Jacob's trouble, pretty much, you know. And they really don't need much else to be in place, you know, in order for them to make that move, you know. So I want to just go over a couple of precepts and just take it from there. The first one I wanted to go to was the book of Revelation chapter 2, which you already know what scriptures we're going to hit, because we've gone over it many times. The scriptures don't change, you know. Only thing that upgrades is the information that's out there. So this is Revelation 2:10. It reads, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer." Why does it say that? Because there's going to be a suffering coming into play, you know. And that's what it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Why? Because this suffering that's coming is pretty much a test, you know. And it's a test based off of, you know, the hour of temptation, the final push, so to speak, before the destruction comes. Because before the destruction comes, you have to have the hour of temptation. You have to have, you know, Jacob's trouble. You have to have the MOTB fully pushed out there, mandatory on people, because that is a prophecy, you know. And that's why you have even Israelite groups that deny that the MOTB is the microchip, because a lot of them been paid off, they've been compromised, you know. And they either that, or they're just straight up blinded. Like the scriptures say, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, least the glorious gospel of Yahushua should shine unto them. And we know that if it shines unto them, they would be converted and they would be healed, and the Lord would have to deliver and save them, because that's what the Lord said. But the Lord doesn't want to deliver certain Israelites. The number in America would be 2/3. So the word for suffer in the Greek is pasko. You got pentho, patho, pasko. So it says to be affected or have been affected, to feel, have a sensible experience, to undergo. So it's an undergoing of suffering. It says, in a good sense, to be well off, in a good case. In a bad sense, to suffer sadly, be in a bad plight of a sick person. And that's pretty much what it is. You know, it's to suffer sadly, because you have to envision this. When you look at the average American out here, you know, let's just deal with Jake, forget about Esau and them other nations. The average American or Israelite or Egyptian, Israelite Jake out here, they're in a comfort zone. The only time they are on alert, you know, is because, you know, that's just the way you have to be growing up, you know, in the cities. You know, you have to be alert of your surroundings. You have to watch, you know, especially in certain cities, you know, people rolling up on you and, you know, just different things. So it's just a natural reflex, you know, of watching your surroundings, you know, whenever you're out and about, because that's just the way things are. But for the most part, most Americans, when I'm dealing with Americans, I'm talking about Jake, they're pretty much in a relaxed state, you know. So when they're put into these different concentration camps / detention centers, or whatever they want to call them, most people are going to be frantic, because they're not going to understand why they're going through those things. And that's why the scriptures say, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. So most Jakes are not mentally equipped to understand why this is happening or why it's going to happen. So they're going to bug out. All right. So reading on, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, which is Esau, and it doesn't matter if it's a Jake, a Moabite, an Ammonite, you know, a Hamite, or whatever the case that arrests you here in America, they all work for the devil. Who's the devil? Esau, the Edomites, beginning with the international banking families and the rest of these devils. The devil shall cast some of you into prison, and these are actual prisons. Matter of fact, let's get that word prison. And the word for prison is fulake, guard, watch, a watching, keeping watch, because that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be keeping watch, you know, of Jake, because they're going to want to make everybody subservient to this so-called New World Order, this agenda that they got going on. It says persons keeping watch, a guard, sentinels. It says of the place where captives are kept, a prison, and that's exactly what it is. Of the time of night during which guard was kept, that's going into something else. But the point is, of the place where captives are kept, a prison, and that's why it says they shall feed you being idle. And when you're idle, what does that mean? You're not able to really move freely about as you would normally do. So in this push for this agenda, they're going to have to put people in an uncomfortable position, you know, to either comply or pretty much die, because that, at the end of the day, those that don't comply, they really can't do nothing with them except for put them to death, you know. And it's going to be easy for them, because in the so-called new world that Esau has envisioned, the so-called new world is going to be a lot less people than they are now. So the ones that comply, they know that they got them. The ones that don't comply, it will be nothing to them to kill them. Like the scriptures say, that blood is nothing to them. You know, they didn't hate blood. You know, they're having unsatiable appetite for killing. So it goes on to say, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. And this is the point, and this is where the suffering is going to come into play, because there's a trial that's going to come to pass, you know, dealing with Jacob's trouble that's coming. And that word for tried is peirazo. It says to try whether a thing can be done, to attempt endeavor, to try, make trial, of test, of the purpose of ascertaining his quantity, or what he thinks, or how he will behave himself, in a good sense. In a bad sense, to test one maliciously, craftily, to put to proof his feelings or judgments. To try or test one's faith, virtue, character, by enticement to sin. And that's pretty much it. Because Yahushua had his hour of temptation, and we're going to have our hour of temptation. And the trial and the testing is going to come through what? Through sin. And what is sin? You know, sin is the breaking of the commandments. So to take the MOTB is a sin. It's not sin in general, but it is a sin. So that's going to be the enticing. Okay, look, all of this can stop if you comply and take this, you know, this microchip. And all of this will go away. You know, you'll go right back into society. Things will go back to normal. You know, you won't have to deal with this. You won't have to suffer. You'll be a law-abiding citizen, you know, like they did in the movie Matrix to Mr. Anderson. You know, you're living two lives, you know, and pretty much that's what it is. So it goes on to say that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. And these tribulations are going to come by way of all of these mandates and things that are coming down the pike. The word for tribulation is flipsis, a pressing. See, like Elder Pascal Gabar brought out years back, and every once in a while he'll mention it, that when Yahushua was in the Garden of Gethsemane, the word Gethsemane means a pressing of oil or something along those lines. Because Yahushua was the oil that was being pressed. Why? Because that was his hour of temptation. So this tribulation is going to be a pressing. And that pressing is going to be a pressing upon the believers of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, the elect, to press them, to put them in this trial situation, to destroy them, you know, so that they will take their hand and be subservient to these devils, and not to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. But this is what Yahushua said. This is in red letters. Matthew 24:24. For there shall arise false anointeds and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, which we're witnessing right now, and so much that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. But the point is that they're not going to be able to deceive the very elect, because the elect are not going to take the chip, and the elect are given to Yahushua in his hands. And Yahushua said, out of all that the Lord gave me, I have lost none, save the son of perdition, that the scriptures might be fulfilled. See? And at the end of the day, that's what everything is boiling down, or heading down the path of fulfillment of scripture, fulfillment of prophecy. You know, what is the end game? That's a topic right there. What is the end game? Fulfillment of prophecy. What is the end game? And in the bottom, fulfillment of prophecy. Because that's the end game. When the prophecies are fulfilled, then we move to the next phase. You know, take me to the next phase, baby. All right, so let's read this again. Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, because that's going to be a trial. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. That's going to be to test the moral character of each individual. And we're all going to be tested to see what we're made of. And we hope that when that time comes, the Lord, you know, being that we've been faithful to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, that he would, you know, look upon us and have mercy upon us and put that spirit in us to resist, to fight, you know, because at the end of the day, those that give in, the Lord gave them the spirit to give in. Those that resist, the Lord gave them the spirit to resist. And that's the bottom line. So it says, you shall be cast into prison that you may be tried. You're going to be pressed. And you shall have tribulation. We're going to be pressed. We shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Yeah, because, you know, those that die in the Lord are going to be the first to resurrect, the first to be risen from the grave, you know, and go into the chariots. But you have individuals that make fun of the chariots. You have individuals that don't believe in resurrection. But this is nothing new. This goes back, you know, the Sadducees didn't believe in spirits. They didn't believe in angels. You know, so there's many different beliefs that Israelites had back then. So that's why we shouldn't be perturbed when we see these Israelites today having all these different bugged out beliefs. It happened back then, it's going to happen now. You know, this is all a part of the sifting grounds. You know, the sifting grounds. I like that title. All right, now let's go from here to the book of Revelation, same book, 12. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea." Why does it say woe to the inhabitants of the earth? The word there for earth is gay, or gi, or geo. And that's talking about the whole inhabited earth, because this agenda is going to encompass the whole planet, the whole sphere. You know, I said it that way because some guys get mad when you say sphere or globe or ball, you know. So it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth." Woe means destruction, bad times, calamities to the inhabitants of the earth. Why? Because there's going to be an agenda that's going to be pushed that's going to make life very uncomfortable for those that do not comply. You see? It says, "And of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." So he knows that his time is running out. And this is why he's coming the way that he's coming. So they're coming. The name of the lesson. So don't be surprised, because you've had federal agents and different, you know, agents approach brothers at their jobs, you know, at their homes, you know, and trying to pull them away from the truth, trying to scare them. But you're going to have this, you know, and the closer we get to the end, the worse it's going to get. So this is 1 Peter 5:8. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant," meaning be sober mentally in the scriptures, in the truth. Because you have a lot of you Israelites out there that watch, you know, the Israelites for entertainment. You know, you just watch it as a thing of entertainment. And when we say don't be watching them other groups, you're gonna get confused. Your thing is that I'm gonna watch whoever I want to watch because I know how to discern. I can, you know, I can pick out whatever, and you can't pick out shit. Then you get confused and well, you know, this group said this. Can you please, you know, do a video on this so we can be edified, you know, so we can know the truth? Well, you already know the truth. We told you what to do through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. If your gullible ass wants to go watch some other groups out there and get confused, don't come back to us asking us to unconfuse you. Because the scriptures say, be not children tossed to and fro. And that's what's the problem with a lot of you Israelites out there. You don't know how to follow instructions. You know, you don't know how to follow instructions unless it comes from the so-called white man. When it comes from Esau, you are at, you know, you're at attention. You know, your focus. You know, your whole devotion and, you know, your sense of subjectiveness is all intact. But when it comes to your own people that's warning you of the things that are coming, warning you of the wolf, you're like, nah, whatever. Then can you please don't confuse me because these guys said this and you guys teach this. I'm confused. Can you help us out? Can you do it? No. Stay your confused ass over there. Told you already what to do through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. If you can't follow instructions, you're headed for destruction. Unbelievable, man. Wow. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant. Be sober, be vigilant. Don't be bouncing from one camp to another camp. You're gonna get confused. Now, when brothers that are seasoned in the truth watch these other camps, they're watching them to, you know, because that is a part of our job also as watchmen, to watch some of these other camps to see what madness they're bringing out so that we can straighten it out. But some of you just watching it just for entertainment, then you get confused and then you try to come back to us. You know? No, it don't work like that. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And how do you think that the spiritual demon Satan is looking to devour Jake out here? Through deception. Through deception. There was a precept that came to mind. Wish I would have just grabbed it. Damn. Oh, Barak De'al Bashim Shai came back. You know, so that's how you, and we're going to read more on that, but let's get this real quick. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. See? So we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, because the Lord allowed us, gave us the eye salve to be able to see through the madness, so the Spirit would allow us not to get caught up in it. Now let's look up that word advantage. Excuse me, Salakia. In the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 2 and verse 11. So it says, advantage of us. Pleonectio almost sounds like deception. To have more or a greater part or share. To be superior, excel, surpass, have an advantage over. See, to gain or take advantage of another, to overreach. So to have more or greater part or share. In other words, to get one over on you. You know? To outdo you, to get the upper hand, pretty much. So it says, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now let's look up the word ignorant and let's look up the word devices. Ignorant. Agnoio. Agnoio is know or not, and gnoio, or like a Gnostic, is to know. So ignorant just simply means you don't know. To be ignorant, not to know. See, not to understand, unknown, to err or sin through mistake, to be wrong. So not to understand, not to know. So when you don't know something, you don't understand, so you don't know how to deal with it. That's why it says, and knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, the strength of salvation. So now the word for devices is noema or noema, a mental perception, thought, and evil purpose, that which thinks, the mind, thoughts, or purposes. So the mental perception. So we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, because we know that the mental perception is what? To push their agenda. And this agenda is spoken of in scriptures. You know, so we, through the Spirit, have been given the ability to discern these things. Salakia. We have been given the ability to discern these things. Therefore, you know, when things come, we can see, you know, what's happening, because the Lord gave us the eye salve to see. Because to understand is to have the ability to resist. But those that don't understand, in their search for complacency and their search for comfort, they're going to comply with what they think the right way is. And remember, these devils are not going to come and say they're the devil, you know, you're going to see the horn sticking out, that they're the devil. They're going to come very deceptive, like the serpent came to Eve. They're not going to come to you in that, motherfucker, you better take this or I'm going to kick you, you know. They're going to make it seem like it's a benefit to you. They're going to make it seem like it's not harmful. See? And that's how they're going to come. Because at the end of the day, that's how the serpent gets down. That's how the serpent gets down. The serpent gets down the way he gets down, because that's how the serpent gets down. All right? So, Salaki, let me see something. try to go a little longer. I got to pick me mom up. All right, so let's read that again. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And that's at the end what he wants to do. But remember, Yahushua already said that those that the Most High gave him, which are the elect, which are not going to take the MOTB, they're not going to be plucked out of Yahushua's hand. So what happens is, no matter what predicament the elect find themselves in, the Spirit of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, is going to send the Holy Spirit into the minds of the elect to be able to maneuver through the maze of deception. Wow, that's to be able to maneuver through the maze of deception. That's a title right there for a lesson. Maneuver through the maze of deception. That's all the Spirit, you know. So they'll be able to maneuver through all of this deception that's going down, you know. And this all takes place because there is a direct link and inspiration that comes from heaven. You know, the spiritual umbilical cord of the elect is connected directly to the Most High and Yahushua. And those prayers keep it strong. The prayers are the nutrients that keep the spiritual health between Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, and the elect of Yasha Allah. Because what is the umbilical cord? The umbilical cord is nothing more than the nutrients that are passed on from the mother to the child. So the prayers is that spiritual umbilical cord that connects and keeps the spiritual side of the elect healthy. Because the blessings from the Lord, which are those minerals and vitamins and micronutrients or whatever it is that are needed to keep the body healthy, to keep that spiritual side healthy, you know. So it says whom so now that the devil is doing this, seeing who he can devour and destroy, it says whom resist steadfast in the faith. So how do we resist that? Being steadfast in the faith. Let's look up that word steadfast. And steadfast does not mean to be bouncing from one place to the other. That's why it says, be not children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. You know? Because that's what you're doing when you're bouncing from camp to camp. You're being tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine. You know, 1 minute, you know, you believe one way, next minute you believe something totally different. And before you know it, you're totally confused because you don't know how to discern your right hand from your left hand because you don't know how to follow instructions. The scriptures tell you, be not children tossed to and fro. But no, you got no, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. I watch whoever I want to watch. Hey, well, go watch whoever you can do that. You're right. We ain't gonna stop you. Go watch whoever you want to watch. But when you get confused, don't come to us. Figure it out yourself. All right, so it says steadfast. The word for steadfast is stereos. Wow, like a stereo. Strong, firm, immovable, solid, hard, rigid. Makes me think of the word endure. He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. The word endure means to be made hardened. You know, to go through a rigorous training, so to speak, and to be made mentally strong. Because it has nothing to do with being physically strong. It has everything to do with being mentally strong. Because mentally strong is what's going to get us through this, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So it's a strong, firm, immovable, solid, hard, rigid. In a bad sense, cruel, stiff, stubborn, hard. In a good sense, firm, steadfast. Now, I'm going to just look up the word steadfast in the Common Dictionary. Just bear with me, let this load up. Look up the word steadfast. Now you want to do that, right? All right, steadfast. Okay, steadfast. Marked by firm determination or resolution, not shakeable. firm and dependable, especially in loyalty. See? Oh, down here for synonyms, it says single-minded, unflinching, inflexible, faithful, resolute, unswerving, dedicated, abiding, unyielding, ardent, adamant, relentless. And why are the elect going to be this way? Because the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem El Shai is going to give that surge, that energy, that internal fortitude to the elect to resist. And that's the only reason. Whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. Yeah, because all brothers are going through this. When you're going through a situation, don't think you're the only one going through that situation. Everybody's going through the same thing, but there's different levels to it. Because sometimes brothers get into this rut that they think that woe is me and that they're the only ones going through things. Everybody else is just floating on the cloud. No, everybody's going through it. It's just different levels to it. Some brothers' hell is hotter and some is not as hot. But the Lord only does it because he's only going to put so much on a man that he can bear. As the scriptures say, he ain't going to put more on a man that he can bear. And with that trial and those afflictions and stuff, he's going to make a way for the man to get through it. And to escape it. Because at the end of the day, when Satan came to Yahushua to tempt him, he was tempting him them 40 days, and he really was getting at him the last day. But what happened? After that, it said that Satan left for a season. So the trials and the tribulations are what? It's a temporary thing to build us up, but then the Lord takes it away for a little bit. Then it comes back. Then it takes it away. So it's a little, it's the proving grounds. You go through it for a while, and then, then the Lord will make Satan ease up. And then, we're so used to going through it that when it's eased up, we're like this, tense, because we're looking for it to come again. Because that comes from what? From a constant going through it. That when things are kind of running a little smooth, you're like looking around like, okay, what's next? Because it's coming, but it lasts for a while, then it goes away. You brothers that have gone through that have been here the last 14 years or so, through your own experiences that these things last for a while, and then they go away, and then something else will come later. But all of these things are to build us up for the things that are coming. And you have to remember that a lot of Jakes are not going through this because they're already doomed from the beginning. So this is Hebrews 12:5. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord, so don't despise the chastening of the Lord, because it says what? For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. And that's why when you have a man in the relationship with a woman and they have children, a lot of times the children, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, to the father, because the father is a disciplinarian. But he's not being a disciplinarian just to be an asshole. He's doing it because he doesn't want you to make mistakes that he may have made or that he's seen other people make that don't have any sense of direction. The scriptures say, the rod, it gives correction, and it says folly is set in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it far from him. So pretty much that rod of correction could be a beating, it could be a trial, tribulations and things of that nature, so that you're not found going down that path to destruction. So that's why I said that whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and rebuketh often. And it doesn't, you would think, and the only reason why we have this mentality is because of this Western society, this Western world, this Western thinking, that if somebody really loves us, they will make our life as easy as possible. They won't chastise us. They won't, correct us. They won't beat us, so to speak. Because that's how we were made to think in this society, that if you love somebody, you let them do whatever the hell they want. But that's a total opposite of love. That's really hate. Because if you just let somebody do whatever they want, guess what? That's going to lead them down the path of destruction. As opposed to a chastening and a rebuking and a instruction in righteousness, which can sometimes be a little grievous, a little overbearing. But later on, after you go through it, you'll be like, man, I'm glad I went through that, even though it was grievous at the beginning. It even says it here. It says, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If you endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if you be without chastisement, you never going through anything, you never going through any tribulations or anything like that, whereof all are partakers, all who? All of the sons. Then are you bastards and not sons. See? So if you're not ever going through anything, then you have to question, your position. What are you really, if you're not going through any chastisement and everything is super smooth for you, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It says, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit. See? So the Lord, when he's chastising us, he's doing it for our profit. Even though at the moment we don't realize it, because we're spending so much time on ow, 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 I can't. In that spirit, inside joke, ow, 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 in that ow, ow, ow spirit, that we're not looking at the bigger picture. We're just looking at the hurt, we're just looking at the situation, instead of looking at the reason and the benefit that comes after. Like the Apostle Paul said, look, I made you sorry with a letter. I repent of it, even though I don't repent of it, because when I made you sorry, look what carefulness it wrought in you. What vehemence, what zeal. Because I cursed you out, you was all upset with me, but afterwards, look at the benefit of it. Look how you're conducting yourself now. Look how you're walking. See? It says, for they verily, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Because remember, we have to be purged from the ideas and the thoughts of this world, which are not good, and that's why we have to be changed. It says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous. Listen good. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. It's just like when you train. What's the worst part of training? Training. Getting up, putting in that work. Getting started, pushing your body to the limit. So you can be conditioned, so you can be ready for whatever it is that you're training for. But the harder you train, the easier the competition becomes. But the training part is like, and then you see those athletes, they train hard, and then one thing they have to do is get in that ice bath, which they hate, and then afterwards what they get in that nice hot tub, and then they're like, yeah, this is more like it, So this is all a training that we're going through. A mental training that we're going through to prepare us for the things that are coming. And the harder that the Lord have trained the brother, the easier, even though it's going to be rough, but the easier mentally it'll become to get through the hard times that are coming. So it says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterwards, after what? After going through the grievousness of the chastening, nevertheless afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So we're going through an exercise because they're coming. So the Lord is putting us through an exercise, a spiritual exercise, to get us mentally prepared, mentally equipped for what's coming. That's beautiful, man. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Yeah, so it'd rather be healed than turned out of the way, because if you turn out of the way, what happens? Scripture say that no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of heaven. It says, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord, looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of the Most High, lest any bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Yeah, that's why it says a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. That's why if you know something is going on, a discrepancy, a division in the doctrine, it has to be addressed right away. So that's a little thing. No, it has to be addressed right away. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. And when things go unchecked, what happens? That's where you get individuals that infect others, and then most of those guys end up falling out, and you might have one or two that might be left that was caught up in there, but they happen to kind of, the Lord happened to snap them out of it. But why did that happen? Because it was left unchecked. Because those individuals that do those things, they do it privately. Don't say nothing though. Don't say nothing. Just someone just looking over. Don't say nothing. Nah. When you do that, you open up the doors for them demons to distort the truth. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Yeah. For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. Yeah, and there's no Edomites are going to be saved. Not one. Like you hear Elder Pastor mention how he ran into Lahab, one of the former 7. And he said, can Esau can the Edomites be delivered if they get right with the Most High? No. They're not going to get right with the Most High, because they were created to be the wicked vessel. It says, for ye are not come unto the mount. So that pretty much goes into something else. But pretty much they're coming, and what we're going through are the proving grounds, the things that are getting us mentally prepared for what's coming, and this is the time, and these are the ways that the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai is setting it up for us to get, to the finish line, so to speak. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. Till the next time I say Shalom.